Hey everybody, it's Wednesday and another live and unscripted edition is at your front door or your computer or maybe your phone. I don't know. Welcome to this edition of Live and Unscripted, which is taking place on August 30th, 2023. I am so excited for today's conversation with Janet Thurgood. Yeah, I'm super excited. She's like one of just my soul sisters and buddies that I actually have never met in person. And so I will get more into that here in a minute, but let's just go into a couple of housekeeping items, which is the river trip took place 2 weeks ago, August 14th through 20th, and our it was absolutely amazing. And to be completely honest, I am still processing some of the stuff that took place and the learning that was, I'm going to use the word churned up through that experience. And I'm still sitting in awe of what took place and how I had the opportunity to experience the river. We will be talking in depth more about that probably next Wednesday on Live and Unscripted. Leah and I will hop on and share more of that. But I'm just going to extend an invite to you right now. Why it's hot off the press. Registration is actually open for next year's Surviving Life and Leadership River Retreat. It's the same dates. It's August 14th through 20th. That is actual time with us at the lodge and on the river. So you'll want to make note of that as far as your travel go. But when you register, we'll take care of all of that for you. Registration is super easy. It's a $500 deposit, and then you have till June 1st to pay the rest. Again, when you go to register, you'll see all those details, or you can just reach out and ask questions. But again, next Wednesday on Live and Unscripted, we'll be talking in much more depth and detail about what took place on the main salmon a couple of weeks ago. I'm excited because it leads into all the things that I've just been learning and processing, and some of what I'm sure will come up with Janet and I today. We've been having a small conversation about all the stuff that's going on energetically, like this full moon. And I think Janet, did you say it's a super moon? And there's just a lot of things energetically and just how tender I feel today. And I think part of that is just in regards to what I know can come out in the conversations that I can have with Janet, and just the yumminess that will take place. And then just the things that I'm learning in my world. And I think I've been a little unsure of how to share some of them with you. And so it's some apprehension of how those things may show up today. So I'm just going to say this, be prepared for lots of raw and vulnerability today, and possibly lots of tissues. Maybe you may want to have some in like arm's reach for yourself as well. And just this thought of coming to mind of being gentle with yourself as we're going through this day and the next few days, because there's a lot of things going on. And you may be feeling lots of emotions and not sure why, or being able to put words to it, and just being willing to give yourself a hug and wrap yourself up, and to let yourself show up however you need to show up. Today, that may be tears for me. That's a heads up. So with that, let's just go into some breathing. And today, as I was hanging out in my hot tub this morning and I was just doing some meditation, I thought, today's breathing just feels like it needs to be super simple. And it's basically, we're just going to invite you to let go of everything that's happened already in the day, and to let go of everything that you think is going to happen in the day, or that you've planned to happen in the day, and to just be in this space right here, right now, where you can bring your heart into a coherent state. You can slow your mind down. You can slow down all the things that have been going on in your day to day, and be really present with you, present with us in this conversation, and really lending to the nature of what Live and Unscripted is all about, which is letting inspiration be the guide, allowing us to speak from our hearts and to share the things that are put in our minds and on our hearts to share with you. And that knowing that coming into the space of just even just 60 seconds of breathing can help bring all of us into that state. So today, breathing looks like this. I'm just going to invite you to take your hand, place it on your heart, like really feel what that feels like. Feel the heat from your hand on your heart. See if you can feel your heart beating. And today, breathing is about just noticing what it feels like to breathe. Can you feel the air move through your nostrils? Can you feel your chest expand? Are you able to get that breath down into your belly? Are you able to get it down into your pelvis? Just really recognizing your breath and the thing that sustains you every day without asking. It's just there for you. So, as we do this, if you want to think about bringing in other things that feel really yummy for you, you're welcome to do so. If you're wanting to release things, you're welcome to do so. But our focus is just feeling the breath today. And as we do it, I'm going to ask you and invite you to do it with downward gaze or closed eyes, whichever feels best for you. And we'll do it for we'll go 30 or 60 seconds. Sometimes that feels like a long time, especially when I'm the one on the camera with my eyes closed and I know everyone is watching. So thank you for holding space for me as we do this and for yourself. So downward gaze or closed eyes. And then just start noticing your breath. How does it feel as it enters your nose? Are you releasing it through your nose or through your mouth? And can you feel it? What happens in your body when you just notice your breath? If you're feeling yourself want to wander, your mind wants to wander, just know it's okay. Just just think it and come back. Let's go about 10 more seconds. Awesome. I'm going to invite you to open your eyes and come back into this space. Just notice how you feel. Do you notice anything different? I don't really want to tell you what you can notice. For me, I notice that my breathing actually slows down and gets deeper. I'm able to take it deeper into my belly. I love feeling my hand on my heart and that exchange of energy there. It kind of feels like I've put a charger on a battery, and I'm just like give myself that little bit of jolt energy. But it's not a like totally like excited energy. It's just that like calm, peaceful. You feel it run through your body. I love how I can feel different parts of my clothing on my body, or how I'm standing today, or how my feet feel squishing into the mat that I'm standing on, or the rubber in my sandals. Like I just love that moment of just feeling my mind slow down and feeling the energy, like I say, the energy exchange and just being in the moment. So I would love to hear what your experience is. And then just remind you that this is something that you can do any time of day. And you don't even have to do it with your eyes closed if there's people around. Or you know what? Maybe have a little extra courage and bravery and close your eyes and let people be curious. Maybe they'll even ask questions and you can invite them into a really cool experience. But just remember that when you're in a space where you're just like, because it happens all day long, right? For a myriad of reasons, that you can just pause for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and put your hand on your heart and give yourself a recharge and just breathe. Just breathe. Become more present with yourself. So, with that, oh my gosh, let's get started. Let me refresh this screen right here. There we go. I just want to thank Leah, who's up in Canada, who's going to be helping kind of moderate things. and be a part of this conversation that way. But most of all, I want to thank my kindred sister, Janet Thurgood, for being here today, agreeing to be a part of this conversation. I'm just going to bring you on the screen, Janet. So Janet and I met, I don't even know, like several years ago. I don't even remember how. I think you reached out to me. Janet runs a Facebook group called Greater Life, Greater Impact. She does quantum healing and mentoring and coaching. For some reason, okay, hold on. Oh, wow. Wow. My computer doesn't tell me like my phone does, clean your screen for a better picture. I was like, why is it blurry? Hi, y'all out there. Anyway, so Janet and I met several years ago, and we had a really fun getting to know each other. And because of the things that we got to chat about, I think it really quickly deepened my love and respect for this person, and what she stands for, and what she teaches and coaches and all of the things. Okay, let me get back onto the screen. Anyway, Janet, do you want to share that story, or should we just
Yeah, it's a humbling story for me because it tells about where I was at consciously at that time in my life, and that's kind of humbling to go back. But I was very much entrenched in my religious upbringing, and I found you on Facebook. I think I'd reached out and extended a friend request because I was like, "Who is this person? She's so amazing and so." Like your energy is just so high vibe, and I was just really drawn to the vibration you were putting out. I was like, I need to get to know her, and so I reached out, and then I think I was doing interviews or something in one of my Facebook groups, and I was like, we need to do an interview, and so you shared with me,
and I was like, yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you shared with me your TED Talks, talk about your situation and coming out into a religious culture as being gay and all of that stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like I was just in a space, I was in my head too much, but I was in this space of like, I don't know how to process that information, I don't know what to do with that. So I think I reached out to you and I was like, never mind. Like I don't know what I said, but something stupid.
Kind of. Yes. It was one of those things where I remember sharing I was like, how did all of that come out? But you're right. I had shared my TED Talk, and it was, I mean, even then it was kind of cute. It was a little like what? Like, wait, you're recanting on this invite? Like what? Because you did say like, I don't know that I can have someone who's gay on my broadcast. I don't know how my community will take that. I don't know that I know how to take that. And here's what I loved about you being honest in that situation. One, for whatever reason, I knew I could push instead of being like hurt. I could say, excuse me, you don't know who I am.
I know.
And we got to have this beautiful, I feel like it's this beautiful conversation back and forth of just like broadening perspective and recognizing that. I mean, I talk about that in my TED Talk when we put 3 letters together, GAY, how it changes instantly somebody's perception of you, even if they've known you your whole life. You didn't even know me that much. And so I think that's why I was able to push back a little bit and just say, you reached out to me for a reason, and there's something there. And so let's get to know each other. Like, let's do this. And oh my gosh, what a blessing.
Yeah. Oh, huge blessing, like bigger blessing than I ever even knew in the moment. So it was very humbling for me to have to wake up. But once I did wake up and go, oh yeah, I don't know anything about you. What the heck? And because you said, with all due respect, you don't know me and you don't know where I'm coming from. You think you do because you've slapped this label on, and I was like, you were totally right. But then once that label and the fear and I was able to awaken, I guess, to a higher vibration of that, I realized, oh my gosh, we are kindred. Like,
Oh,
we are so kindred. I
mm.
fell in love with your soul. It was almost like our physical selves were having these conversations, and our higher selves were high-fiving, going, where have you been?
Right. It's about time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a powerful awakening, and it awakened in me this whole new awareness of just being able to see people for where they're at and for who they are. And you don't always know, until you really get to know people. And I read something. No, somebody sent me something just this morning. It was a quote by Nikola Tesla, who said something to the effect of, to know each other, to really know each other honestly, we have to learn how to know each other beyond the sense of our physical senses, our
Oh
sense
man.
perception.
Right.
We have to be able to tap into that spirit realm and go, okay, what are the vibes? What's true? And what's true is the vibration, not the physical sensation necessarily, or the judgments or the fears or the filters of, programming and society and labels and words like we talked about. But what's true is the vibration. And once I was able to tap into that and awaken to that, which I will forever be in your debt, because you awakened me to a higher level of myself and the ability to meet people in a much more present way. And I will never forget that.
Mm. Well, and thank you. And at the same time, I feel like that really was probably, I mean, I'm like double checking, like, had I really had those conversations of you don't know me? I think that's the first time I'd ever had it quite like that. And, and I love that you gave me the space to just keep saying, oh, okay, let's look at this a little bit more. Let me ask a different question. Let me show you some, like, I love that you providing me that space to be able to stand in my um authentic sovereign self, and to be able to go, this is my truth. And I know I'm just going to call it programming. I know your programming, I know your constructs, and because I grew up that way too. But there's more, like, there's more. And if you'll allow me to, um let's talk about the more. That's
Yeah.
I just love where it went, and where it has taken us since. And
Yeah.
um oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah. And
excited.
it's crazy that we've never stood in each other's presence. Although I thought that I stood in your presence out in Cody, Wyoming, or some weird town. We were driving from Missouri over to Utah, and I swear, to God, I saw you in this gas station, and I was like, Jennifer, and I went running up to you, same hairstyle, same clothing style, same everything. Your faces looked the same. I swear you have a doppelganger out in Wyoming. And I went up to her, and I was almost ready to hug her. And she was like, what are you doing? I'm not Jennifer. And I was like, yes,
Wait a
you
minute,
are.
you don't know me.
You are Jennifer. I swear you are. Anyway, that was bizarre.
That's awesome. I learned the other day, I have one in Canada too, somewhere up in Quebec. Yeah.
Wow. You're living parallel lives on the planet.
I actually am starting to believe a lot more in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Or not, I don't
Me
even
too.
know about believing it, but to understand that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that could be a whole nother. Here's the thing about our conversation today that I would really like our audience to know is, um, this could be a series.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it earlier today. Well, okay, like maybe like just before we got on, and I thought we might just have to do that because I think
Yeah.
there's a ton of things we could talk about, and our time here is just won't allow for that. Okay, so I typically ask people at the beginning. I've been like, should I ask the question, or should we just jump into the yumminess? But I'm going to ask the question. And then we're just gonna do what we do best, and that's just let inspiration be the guide.
Yeah.
What were you like as a kid, and what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, wow. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Right?
What I was like as a kid, I was super sensitive, like extraordinarily sensitive, probably oversensitive to my skin and to the world and to other people. And I think as a result of that, it forced me into a shell. So I was backward shy. My mother said she would take me places and I wouldn't make eye contact with people and they would say something to me. Oh, hi, sweetie, how are you doing? And I would just pretend they weren't even there.
Yeah.
But I think, my mother also told me about a time when I was like 18 months old. I took a tumble down the stairs in my walker.
Oh,
So there was probably some brain damage. I don't know.
holy
Um,
cow.
but after that, I stopped walking and I stopped talking. So um, I was very, very shy, very introverted. I didn't come out of my shell really, probably till high school when I started getting involved in sports and gymnastics and things at music and singing and dancing and stuff like that, that I discovered that I was good at certain things. So I didn't really come out of my shell till then.
I have a question
Um,
in regards to that. I went through I very much was probably similar. I was really shy, quiet, although I could find spaces to be funny and more extroverted. But um the performing thing, I I remember a point in my world, and I was probably in my 20s when this happened. I don't even know. But I remember this point where I was like, I loved performing and speaking because it let me go be somebody else.
yeah.
I thought it was allowing me to be somebody else. And then one day I had this realization of like, wait a minute. I am not being somebody else. I am just getting to be the extended pieces of who I am. What
Yeah.
was your experience that way? Like,
Yeah.
or did I know you would recognize stuff like this?
Yeah, I love that too. I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of musical stuff. I was a dancer and I was a cheerleader and I was a gymnast. And so I liked getting out in front of people to perform in a way that gave me positive feedback.
Right.
I didn't get a
Me
lot of
too.
positive feedback at my house because I was the youngest of a bunch of
Um,
kids and they all made fun of me at home. Like
Jerks.
it's just what kids do, right? Like I was the runt of the family and so I was getting I was the butt end of everybody's jokes and all of that stuff. So when I could take on that persona of all these other things that I discovered that I could do and get positive feedback and applause, I was like, I
Right?
love this. This is
Right?
amazing. I never get this at home.
That's funny.
So
I was
that's
the oldest of a crew.
ah
So I had very similar feelings. Very had to be responsible,
yeah.
take care of everyone else. And I too I too did things to seek for attention, which is I think what again what performing brought me until I had a
Hmm.
different experience later on in life.
Yeah. Yeah. What did I want to be when I grew up? Um, I thought I wanted to be a school teacher or a nurse.
Right. Okay, I didn't think about nursing. I totally thought about school teaching.
But you know what? It's interesting because I do work in the healing arts and I
Yes.
do teach classes every Tuesday and I love it. I don't know that I'm really teaching anything that anybody doesn't already know, but I love holding a space and facilitating learning and conversation and dialogue with people. I love holding that space for people and being able to facilitate it. Anyway, that's I'm doing those things.
I love it. A healer of the soul. Um, don't you think I love the where you just said you don't know that you're teaching not how did you say that? You're not teaching things that people don't already know.
Yeah.
And I love that because I feel very similar. I feel like our souls know it all. It's just
Yeah.
that coming into remembrance of it, of of who we already are and what we already know, and sometimes
Yeah.
just having it presented back to us. Um, through other beautiful souls. And I just appreciate how you shared that.
Yeah, I've told a lot of the people that come to my classes on Tuesdays, I've told them, don't follow me. I'm not your guru. I'm not your
That
savior. I'm not your
that
teacher. I'm just me. I'm going to hold some space here. We're going to talk about cool stuff, but go get your own truth. Like that's on you. That's not my job.
I see again. I think this is part of our kindredness. This is Leah and I have conversations about this often. I don't want to be put on pedestals. It's lonely.
Yeah.
It's so lonely, and I don't want to be somebody's guru. It's this space of I've learned some really cool things, or I've come into remembrance of some really cool things, and I'm ready to show you some really cool things that might assist you in your journey and your adventure and your creativity, and just come and partake, take what works for you, and store the rest away, or don't even store it away. Just come back when you're ready.
Yeah. And I think that's what I love too about I do private mentoring, so spiritual mentoring and energetic medicine and that kind of stuff. But what I love about being in that space one-on-one with people is, again, I'm not there to teach them anything. I'm not there to guide them in their life. I'm not a guide. I'm not qualified to be that, but I can hold space for people. And I'm very good at guiding people back into their own selves to connect home with the inner GPS of who they really are. And I love doing that work. It's like I could do it all day and all night and never get paid and still never get sick of it. It's such a rewarding work to just hold some space for someone and
Right.
see them and hear them and witness them and then help them to find their way back home to themselves.
That piece right there, like that just, and I again, I have an appreciation of how you said that. It is rewarding work, and because it's easy to want to do it for free and to give it away, which we do a lot, and but at the same time, the reality is we like to eat and have heat and have our lights on. We like to put fuel in our cars to go places, and so I also, in my own experience, and maybe you've had the same, is just that exchange. I don't mind doing things for free, but there is value in the exchange of energy, by way of dollars or trade or whatever it is. I've had many moments where I just have felt depleted because there have been people, and this is part of my learning process in all of this, is who just are happy to just keep like taking, and I don't know that I don't know that I can make that statement. I don't know if they're doing it intentionally. It just feels good for them. So of course they want. And I haven't known how to be like, whoa, like, no. And I find myself feeling depleted. Is that something that you have experienced as well? Like, how do you go about that? Like, no, this is actually the work that I do. And I put a lot of time and energy in my own healing and my own work. And I get to say, and you know what? To work with me is this exchange.
I love that you brought that up. That's something that I'm learning right now and going through. It's it's an evolving thing. There have been times in my business where I've charged money for what I do. And then there've been other times, like back in 2019, 2018, I believe, I opened up a certification program. It was a course that I was doing to help other people become practitioners. And I made $50,000 in that 1 month, bringing people into that program. And it was a good feeling. And my husband's like, hey, could you do that again? I was like,
Right.
sure.
Like, damn.
Yeah. And I could retire. And so I was getting ready to do it again. And I felt God say to me, take the price tag off that. And so I did.
I remember when you did that.
I did. I did it for like 2 years. And you know what's interesting about that? I had to train myself because I took the price tag off and then I just started providing my services to people at no charge. It was just free, whatever you want. And I did notice that some people were taking advantage of that, of my time and my energy, and sucking me dry, and I was feeling drained and exhausted. And I had to reevaluate, why am I doing this? And
Exactly.
I started doing the work not necessarily for them, but for God. And so I said, okay, God, if you bring me people, I'll be a servant in your hands. I will serve, but I work for you now. And so I need you to be the boss. I need you to pay the bills. I need you to, and you know what's interesting about that? That year, I was not charging for anything that I was doing. Everything was free. I was just giving it away and putting it out into the universe. But I knew inside of myself, in order for me to not feel depleted, I had to know that my giving and my serving was not going to them. It was going to God. I worked for Him, right? And in those 2 years, the abundance that came into our life was far exceeded by probably 100 times more than what I would have gotten had I charged money for each of those individual sessions. But we were able to pay cash for our house and our cars, and because we moved from one state to another, and there was
Yeah.
values, the difference in values, all these things happened, all these things I couldn't have controlled. I couldn't have made any of
Or
that happen.
foreseen.
Unforeseen. And God was like, let me show you how I'll pay your bills. I'll pay your bills. And what I
I
learned from that 2 years was, number one, you can't outgive God. And then number two, there are laws in the universe that are at play here. So what, like, by law, this is universal law. This supersedes God, right? So universally, energetically, spiritual law says that whatever you put out into the universe in the way of service and love, it has to come back to you. That is a law that no one can break. That law, it's the law of karma and the law of the harvest, and the law, all these laws come into play. And I realized whatever I put out in the way of service, it will come back to me in the time when I need it the most. And it always does. And I'm in a place now where I don't worry. Like, I let people that I work with when I do my mentoring, if they got value out of the service that I provided, they can go to my website and donate something. If they didn't get value, then they shouldn't have to pay for that, right? Like, if I
right.
didn't really deliver or nothing changed in them, they shouldn't have to pay for that. And so that's kind of where I'm operating right now in that space. I am getting ready to open up a private members area where people are going to have to pay for access to that, but
Okay,
it's
wait,
not
wait,
going to
wait, wait.
be.
They're gonna get to. They're gonna choose to.
They're going to choose to pay for
Like,
that. So
yeah.
yeah. But it'll be like a fraction of what they would have had to pay had they done, private coaching or mentoring somewhere else. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Um, I had a question kind of bubble. I'm trying to remember what it is now. There were so many things. The whole value thing I find very interesting. Um, you know, it's only the value that people give it. And I've thought about this a lot, and y- how we put into things, like, I know a lot of times I have held myself back from doing some of the coaching or mentoring or putting stuff on, because I'm like, especially when it comes to me asking for that exchange of energy by way of dollars.
yeah,
Because I think, oh, what if they don't get anything out of it? And I'm like, then I was like, whoa, time out. If they don't get anything out of it, it's their own. That's their own issue. I'm putting together all this yummy information and learning and opportunity to take away yummy nuggets. And if they don't take anything away from it, that's not my problem. Unless, of course, I haven't done my part to, like, actually give them good stuff. But then I
yeah,
started thinking about, what happens when we go somewhere, and we're on an adventure, and they actually give us far more. So say it's coaching. They give us far more than we ever expected, and we're like having our minds blown of, like, oh my gosh, wow. Do they come back and give us more dollars? Not very often. And we
yeah,
don't ask for a tip, unlike maybe going to a restaurant where that stuff's expected. It's just, I've been finding, just thinking about this whole energy exchange by way of dollars super fascinating, especially when it comes to the kind of work that we do. And I don't even like to call it work.
No, it's service.
It's
It's service. We are
and,
servants.
and I think that piece right there, do servants get dollars?
You know what? I think I love this concept. Actually, I love talking about this, and it's something that I've really been learning as I've learned how to consecrate myself to this service, to being a servant. I work for God. So
I love that is how you say it. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But I haven't ever put it in that way.
When you know that that's who you work for, that's who you serve, it doesn't matter whether someone is sucking energy out of you or they're not paying for the service or whatever. It just doesn't matter, because God's the one who's going to make things fair. I don't know how to recompense.
Right. The words, balance. Maybe it's balance, or I don't know.
Yeah. So it'll come back to you in the form of some sort of karmic exchange. And that is a law. And so when you know that, you can just kind of do your service, I came here to do this work. I came here to do this. I came here to be this kind of a servant to humanity. And I don't really worry too much about the literal financial exchange, because I know God's got my back and the universe has got my back, because I'm putting everything out there, putting everything on the line. And when it comes time for me to ask for what I need or what I want, the bank account's full, right? And the universe will deliver. God will deliver.
I think I really needed that reminder today.
Yeah, it's all energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in a space where my mind, I'm in big life changes, and a lot of shifting, and it's been about a year-long process of just, running a race, being on the top of a mountain in a lightning storm, literally thinking I was going to meet my demise and have to be hauled off the mountain through a helicopter.
Whoa.
It was intense. And I didn't realize that that's kind of where this shifting had started to take place. And I was near the end of a 55-mile race, or 55K race, and totally exposed, lightning everywhere, energy everywhere.
Yeah.
But not wanting to be a part of it, or not knowing how to be a part of that intense of energy. And that actually is just coming to me right now. And wanting to feel myself get out of it so that I didn't die. I really thought I was going to die. And then I had made the decision to go to India and to just make some really big choices. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. Though those ways were figured out, and just following my heart and following these pulls of energy.
Yeah.
Not really understanding or knowing why or what that meant, knowing that I was wanting to build this business. I'd started, and it wasn't feeling right due to all the hoo-ha that was going on in the world, and knowing I was going to have to really shift some things inside of me and in the business. And I go to India, I do some speaking, I meet cool people, and then I just start watching life. I start noticing myself in this place of surrender. And I feel myself start to really want to open up, but at the same time, just crunching of like, you can't do that. There's like all these old constructs and beliefs and contracts, and then I find myself in a space of, and this is the point of where I'm now saying and really believing on a completely different level, and I would say even in a different parallel of, hey God, I know that I'm here for you, and I'm ready to really be in the energy of that. Yeah. And I'm ready for you to show me how good it can get. Wow. Show me how good it can get.
Yeah. Be careful about
really scary. I know.
Yeah,
I
because then
know.
God's going to go, well, then you have to let go of stuff first because you're clinging to the lower density world, and everything that you're clinging to, you have to let go of before I can elevate you.
Well, and I couldn't say that until I actually couldn't say, show me how good it can get, because I was hanging on to things. In fact,
Mhm.
one of my friends, one of the ladies that was in India, I was on a call with her one day and she's like, and you look like everything's going on displayed on a billboard. I was like, it's that obvious. Like, how dare you say that to me to my face? And then I thought, wow, I really need to like really start looking at this. If it's that obvious to now, she's an energy person. She can see it, she could feel it, and probably others could too. But I had to recognize I was clinging to a lot of things that some I knew, some I didn't know, and I had to have that shift. It's scary. It was really, really
Yeah.
still scary.
It is scary. It's interesting to I've been having this conversation with God the last couple of weeks actually in my own meditations, like, why does this have to be so hard and so butt kicky? Like,
Right?
why does there have to be so much sacrifice and surrender and pain and sorrow and suffering? And God said, um
Did you say there
I'm
doesn't
not He's
have
like,
to
I'm
be?
not torturing you. I'm not tormenting you. You're not sacrificing. I'm teaching you how to surrender and let go because I'm liberating you from the low world. I'm liberating you from the density of 3D so that you can up level and become the highest version of yourself, like I am.
Yeah.
And it's
I
about letting go.
yeah. And I have been feeling that a lot. And the things that I have felt like I get to let go of. I don't know if it's like that I get to let go of, that I'm being asked to let go of in order to have other things, are scary, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
You know, it's like if you cling to money, you can't buy stuff.
Right. Right.
So you have to let go of what you're clinging to in order to have what you're trying to buy, right? Which is something really cool and awesome. So I tell my students all the time, if you want to up level and be the highest version of yourself, or yoke to God, or be more godlike or more godly or one with God, buckle the hell up, because
Right.
you're going to be asked to let go of all the stuff that you're clinging to or attached to that's preventing you from that. And you're going to see it as suffering and torture, but God's going to see it as liberation.
Right. Well, and don't you think it's my experience that when I'm in those spaces, which I'm currently in those spaces, um, when I when I feel my soul like it knows what needs to happen and what to let go of, and I'm like, yeah, but and I'm still like, it actually feels worse to hang on to the thing than to
Yeah.
just let go and to trust. I don't love this phrase, and I totally love this phrase, but to trust the process and to trust God, because I'm like, no, but I know this over here, and I don't want to let go, and I like it, but I've asked to have all of that over there.
Trust the process. That's the word that I hate is God keeps saying to me, it's purposeful. I'm like, I don't want to hear that anymore.
Right?
I'm
It's like
sorry.
you're such a funny God. Okay, so one thing that I've really noticed when I felt, and I think I've probably in our private conversations talked about walking away just in like consternation, wondering if I'm going to like where I'm actually going to go, and if that I don't even know if that's what I was wondering. Just feeling all the pressure and this pull of my soul in another direction. And
Yeah.
I'm taking my garbage down to the road, and I felt a physical shifting. I felt lightness happen. I felt calmness come in, and I felt peace come in. That was like the beginning of April. And it's been this crazy experience of, I think, allowing my consciousness to um, join forces instead of being charged with my soul, and
Mm-hmm.
to do the letting go and to trust, even though it meant I I would hurt people. I hate that, and but that by hanging on, I'd really be continuing to hurt myself
And them,
and them. Yeah,
because it's out of alignment, right?
and so this peace and this calm, and I know you know this, and I think I'm trying to gain an understanding, gosh dang, of I feel myself want to go to these old patterns of worry and concern and overthinking. And the reality is, whatever that is that came in takes over. And I don't find myself going to the worry or very often to the overthinking. Like this peace and this calm has become the beautiful undercurrent of some of the tumult that happens on top. Um, how would you, in your world, one of you experienced that? I know you have. I know you already are. Um, how would you explain that? I don't feel like I have words other than it's really delicious, and it's something that I want to continue trusting and following and feeling. I want my life to feel like that,
Yeah.
knowing that we're going to get the waves and we're going to get swallowed up sometimes, but that peace and that calm is there. I don't know if that's
Yes.
connecting into the flow, if we're finally connecting into God and trusting with that.
It's an up leveling. It's like you've had a baby before, and so I know you understand this. It's like everybody wants to hold the baby, but nobody wants to push it out of their vagina.
True.
Nobody wants to give birth to it because that hurts and it's messy and it's hard and it's very uncomfortable. But yet, when you go through it, now you're holding this baby and your life is forever changed. So that's what happens when we focus on our growth, the growth of our inner self and spiritual awakening and healing, whatever it is that we're doing, the inner work that we're doing. When we do that, the right people that are now in alignment with who we are now, they come into our space, and people who are out of alignment with that are there where there's dissonance, they'll kind of fall off and go somewhere else for a time. And not just people, but things and situations and jobs and conversations and just stuff in our external world shifts to meet us there in that internal growth, which is like transitional labor. Yeah, it hurts to push a baby through your body. Yeah, it's messy and it's hard and it's uncomfortable. But when you do, the the fruits and the benefits and the joy and the bliss is forever life changing. So anytime you focus on your own healing and your own growth and your own up leveling, then you're going to go through the mess of that for sure. The transitional labor for sure. There's going to be some letting go. We're going to be invited to let stuff go that we've been clinging to. And we have to remember too that I'm not responsible for everybody's feelings. When I shift and I
That
grow
piece
and I up
right
level,
there.
I am not responsible for how everybody's going to perceive that and see it and then project back onto me. I can't be responsible for that. It would kill me.
I
All I can do is up level, be the best version of myself, live in love, try to meet people where they are to the best of my ability, and have compassion for how it's going to influence and affect everybody.
yeah.
Because I've experienced that in my life too, where I've had people say to me, your decisions are very hurtful and they're hurting people and they're ruining our lives and all of this stuff. And I'm
You've
not
gone off the
responsible.
deep end. You've lost the spirit. You're being deceived. You're all the
Yeah.
things.
All the things. And I can't be responsible for everybody's filters and for the way that they see that. However, I can sit there and listen to that and have compassion for that and hold space for that and listen and nod and be humble and say, I'm so sorry that you're hurting. I'm so sorry that you're hurting. And I love you. You know, so we can still do all those things without going, well, I'm up leveling healing and take it or leave it. And I don't care who I hurt in the process. And that's on you. Like, we don't have to be jerks about it. We can still have compassion for the way that it's going to shift our external world. But every single time you up level and do your inner work and make a change and a shift, your whole world is going to shift with you. Expect that. It's part of the process.
Yeah, and as you're talking and we're having this piece of this conversation, I'm thinking about times in my life when I really wanted to defend myself against certain, things that were being said, and somebody once said to me, "You don't have to defend yourself." I'm like, what do you mean? They're saying all these things and it's not true and it's not really who I am. And I've noticed that in this situation, I mean, there's a thread of that again that wants to come in because it's old patterning still hanging on somewhere and letting me know that, hey, I'm still here, take a peek. But again, that calm and that peace comes in and I feel myself go, I don't have to defend myself. And this isn't something that somebody can think through or that I can talk to their mind about. This is something that has to actually be felt. And if they want to hear me with their heart and they want to really trust who I am because they've seen how I function and they're welcome to believe something different. And that feels crappy. But this whole concept of I don't have to defend myself. I love how you put that as well.
And I love how you said, if they really want to know you, if they really want to know you vibrationally and heart to heart and have heart space for who you are, they'll find a way to do that. But if they really just want to judge you and then project it onto you and blame you for their emotions, then that's not on you. That's something that they have to work through.
Yeah. I feel like I've just noticed, I love that you brought up that we're not in charge of other people's feelings and emotions. As I was on the river, that was one of the things that I very consciously decided to just keep flowing down the river. Just this teaching that I had, that I was in charge of other people's feelings and other people's emotions and how they behave, and that my actions played a role in that. And
that's a heavy burden.
But to recognize how that still has informed my adult life. Even I just turned 51, and to see how there are pieces of that still wound in there, but I'm grateful I can recognize it and to just be able to go, I know they're hurting and I'm not responsible. I know they're hurting and I'm not responsible unless I have done something that has actually created that in their world. Even then I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that sometimes.
Yeah. But you can have compassion for the hurting and the pain that they're experiencing because you've been there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you're not responsible.
That piece.
They have to work through it.
Yeah. How do you have those conversations with people because you've done the work, you're going through the work, I'm going through the work. How do you go about helping people in your world recognize that they don't have to carry that burden? They're not responsible.
Well, I don't know that we can convince them of that.
True.
They have to choose that. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at relationshiping. I'm not. We all trip and fall and we all bump into each other and we all hurt each other's feelings and we all do things that maybe some people are going to see as, you betrayed me. You've abandoned me. You have, you're deceived, all those things where people are suffering, like they're legitimately suffering because they think because of you. So I guess all you can do at the end of the day, and I'm not good at this yet, but I'm trying, is to be humble and to say, I see you. I see your pain. I'm so sorry that you're in pain. I'm sorry for what's in me that contributed to any of your pain. And I love you. And please forgive me. And thank you. Right.
And
the Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. Such a beautiful thing. That piece of I was just thinking about, oh, I just kind of lost my thought because I was like, oh, Ho'oponopono, I love that.
Mm-hmm. You know, the
The
other thing that I've
it's
noticed too in these relationships, when you do things to up level you, but it hurts somebody else, um, it's really a beautiful thing to go to that person and just say, I see you. Thank you for being all of this to me in my life. Thank you for showing up the way you have, and share with them all the things that they've done right in the relationship instead of pointing out all the things that they're doing wrong. Tell
absolutely.
them all the things they're doing right. I see you. I acknowledge you. I witness you. I respect you. I'm here for you. I will always be here for you. And I'm sorry that there's pain inside of you right now. And if you need me to help hold space for that pain, I will sit and witness it with you. But
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for it, right?
Right. Well, and that reminds me back to my thought. Thank you for saying that. Um, I know in my current relationship change, and all that's going, is a part of that is, um, to consciously make the choice to do what you just said, to hold space instead of just this this not liking each other, which isn't the case, but to hold space for the hurt and the pain, and to listen, and to continue to love through the process. Most people don't understand it. I don't know that they really want to understand it, because it requires a lot of energy to have to feel inside yourself to do that, to feel
Yeah.
your own emotions, but then to feel someone else's and to hold space. And like you
Yeah.
say, to not feel responsible for that
Right. And
is
really get in heart to
damn
heart,
hard.
deep, deep with somebody else's vulnerability and just say, oh, I see you. I'm not going to judge you, but I see you and I won't shame you or shun you, but
Yeah.
I'm going to just see you and hold space for you. And I'm going to just love you the best way that I can. You
Yeah.
know, I've had to do this in several of my close relationships with people who have just not understood my path or my journey. And that's okay. They don't have to. I can't make that happen. I can't make
Right.
people understand me. And it's not my
Sometimes
job.
I'd like to, though, right?
You just want to shake them. Sue me,
No.
dang it. Yeah. But what I can do is ask them, would you like to continue having a relationship with me?
Yeah.
If they
Yes.
say yes, some of them will say no. I'm not comfortable with that. I need time away from you. And that's
Yes.
fine. You honor that. Just meet them where they are and give them that space and let them do their thing and let them process. But if they do want a relationship with you, define, okay, what's this going to look like then? How would you like me to show up within this new context of what's going on in the dynamics now that you see that I'm a different person. I'm changing, I'm growing, I'm doing things that are maybe uncomfortable for you. How would you like this relationship to look? What would you like to see? How would you like me to show up for you? How can I support you? And then I think that moving forward in that, just making amends to the best way possible that you can,
Yes.
helps you to have the peace of mind that you did everything that you could to hold space and compassion for the other human being that's hurting because of you, or that they think it's because of you, um, and then be contribute to their healing journey.
I Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Very Can be very challenging to practice, and yet I can bear witness to the fact that in my lived experience, um, while that has been a challenging journey, it's beautiful at the same time, and it's well worth the efforts.
Yeah.
Even if it gets to the point where they're like, I don't know that I want to continue a relationship now or ever. It's
Yeah.
still There's still peace. There's still peace in it, and I want to go back to the betrayal piece, like, because it fits here still. Is um, you know, it's very easy for other people to feel betrayed by our decisions when we're changing and expanding, and vice versa. For us to feel, we can easily feel betrayal from other people.
Hmm.
And I think the piece that really stands out for me in one my situation, but I think in lots of people's situation, and this is where I would love to hear your thoughts, is um, possibly we have betrayed them. But at the same time, where does that betrayal start? And for me, it was me betraying me. It was betraying my voice, my heart, what I felt like was probably more true or authentic for me, but because I love I love the relationship, I love the person. I do everything I can because I want it to work.
Yeah.
I want it to work. My teaching says this is what you do to make it work. You're in this together. You're in this contract. But what I notice is how much, and this is the part I think my mind still wants to mess with me and battle with me and badger me. And my heart says it's okay because you're now on that journey back home. And
Yeah.
because I'm not betraying myself, I can be kinder to the other person. I can be kinder
Yeah.
to other people in my world. I can let go of anger that I have felt and carried. What
Yes.
what are your thoughts on that? Like, what is your
Well,
experience?
the thought that comes to my mind is you can either let them think that you've betrayed them and have them work through that, or you can betray your own soul in order to make somebody else feel comfortable. Which would you rather? Like, and when you ask people that have been hurt by your decisions or by the confusion of what are you doing, who are you, I don't even know you anymore, and you've betrayed everything that I thought I knew you, now I don't know
Right?
you, and
But
you're a different
I
person.
only know you as this, and I want you to stay as that.
Yeah, do you want me to betray myself so that you can feel comfortable? What kind of a, like, who asks somebody else to do that's not love. If someone is asking you to betray your soul so that they can feel safe or they can feel comfortable, that is not love, that is manipulation. I think that we all owe each other as human beings. We're going to bump into each other. We just are. People are going to get hurt. People are going to get wrecked. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for what's happening inside of this. And that's all I can be responsible for. And that's all you can be responsible for. So if you get hurt by my actions, you're still at the end of the day responsible for what you're going to do with what's happening inside of you based on how you're perceiving and witnessing me. You're responsible for what's happening inside of you. I can't betray myself just so that you don't have to have feelings.
That piece right there. I think this thought has been coming a lot to my mind too. How much we, um, in my perception and my lived experience of how much we're taught about happiness and that we've got to be happy and we've got to seek for it and search for it and joy and all these things and like that's and we forget that there's still a balance. There's still the other side of happiness and that we get to go through the uncomfortable or painful feelings and emotions in order, like it's this up and down. It's never just you've achieved happiness. And
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
It's an inside job. Happiness is an inside job, and it's a decision and a choice.
Yes.
Because who you
Yes.
are as a being, when you learn how to tap into yourself as a being and be that self, that true self, you are happiness. It's not you, and you're never going to get happiness by anything or anyone in your external world. It doesn't come from outside of you. It can't be gifted to you. And that's what
Right.
love is too. Love is the same. So if someone is feeling hurt by something you did, or what's happening is their feelings about themselves, and they're projecting it onto you or blaming it onto you, but really it's self disapproval, self-loathing, I'm not enough. It's fear, it's like it's feelings of self. And so every human being, the onus is on you, every human being, when you feel feelings of betrayal and hurt, the onus is on you to come back to self-love, because that's all you have. If you're
Well,
in a relationship and you feel lots of love in that relationship, it's because you're now in alignment with yourself.
yes.
It's self-love, and now you're sharing that best part of yourself with somebody else who also loves themselves. That's called alignment.
And don't you think that that alignment, I love how you do that, alignment
Yeah.
is part of what that like this is coming to me right now too. Like that's part of what that peace and calm is, because I made a decision that was in alignment.
Yeah.
And it just added to that flow of that in my life, and that love for self. And it's like I've
And
known that. Like I love this.
if that decision ripples out onto other people and religious groups or family or whoever it's going to ripple out and spill out onto, that decision for you coming home and being in alignment with your true self, the kind thing to do for people who are spectators to your alignment, the kindest thing that they could do for you is to say, I see you, I hear you, I honor you being in alignment with you. And even if that means that I can't see you the same way as I did before, I still honor you choosing you, because I would never want anything less. I would never want you to be miserable just so I can feel safe or happy.
Yeah.
So it's
That
about,
takes such courage, and like it
it
really is a
does.
rebellious act to
No,
stand in that space. It
no,
it mm,
it's your birthright. And we have a responsibility to stand in that alignment space with who you are and make decisions based on that. You have a responsibility to do that, because then it gives everyone else on the planet to do the same.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
it's stepping out of codependency and stepping into sovereignty and autonomy and self-love. And that's not selfishness. That's just being centered in yourself.
How would you, so I love sovereignty, I love autonomy, um of those things. How do you define um personal sovereignty?
Self-governance. You govern your actions and your decisions and your choices. Nobody else gets to have a say in that. Now you can seek counsel and advice and wisdom. You can collaborate with people, especially if you're in a relationship, for sure. You can have conversation, but nobody gets to stand between you and your higher self, or your access to that, or you and God. And if you and your higher self and you and God make a decision that's right for you, no one gets to have a say in that. Nobody gets to manipulate or control that or guilt you or shame you. Hey, look, it's 111. It's a magical number. So that's how I define sovereignty, as self-governance. Now, if two sovereign beings can come together and relate with one another and have relationship with each other, that's awesome. That's really awesome. But there has to be freedom and autonomy in order for that to happen. There can't
Right.
be clinginess and codependency and manipulation and coercion and control and you owe me. There can't be that stuff. We have to let that stuff burn through our system. And I think where the world is at now, we're moving beyond codependent
Oh,
relationships.
yeah. I love that you use the word burn through, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
It's totally what it feels like.
it's
Um,
painful.
I had another thought, but then I really got stuck on burn through.
Everything is energy, everything is vibration. And it behooves you as a human being to know the vibration of your own soul, so that
Yes.
you can know how to navigate according to what's right for you. Nobody else can give you that. Nobody else can tell you that. I know we get hung up on follow your leaders, follow these people, do what they tell you,
Follow
be
the
good global
science.
citizens, like all those
Yeah.
things, all the things. We get hung up on that a lot. But I think the more important following of the leader is to follow your higher self, because that part of you knows where you're going and it cannot screw up the system or screw up the path. And if it does screw up, or if your ego gets in the way, that's on you, not somebody else.
As you're talking, a thought came back to mind of, and as we're going through this process, know that it very well could be messy, and that it's not. It took you a long time to learn the
Yeah.
patterns and the things that you've lived for so long, and that I'll notice for myself. I actually learned this concept of personal sovereignty like late in my 30s when I was doing the 12 steps about
Mm.
being gay.
Yeah.
I was trying to fix myself. I was trying to follow and get back in line with a religious construct and what it meant to have relationship with God. And I think I got to step 11 and I had my mind blown. Like I was dedicated to this program. I did it every day. And I did all of the exercises and the writing, and I learned so many amazing things. And I think the greatest one was sitting at my kitchen table doing the writing and having like literally felt like the roof being blown off of my house of like, you don't need anybody between you and me.
Mhm.
It's just you and me. What? What? Are you kidding? I don't have to like it changed my world. It shifted my thinking. Um and then I was taking on this beautiful like 3-year feeding by fire hose of like, let me show you some different things. Let me show you a broader perspective. Let me help you have a better understanding of who I really am and how I function in this world and in your world.
Yeah.
And let me start teaching you how to come home. And I had my mind blown, and it's been really beautiful. I call it brutal experience to learn how to stand in personal sovereignty and have autonomy. And especially when I'm still standing next to a lot of the people and organizations that I grew up in, and to have to stand strong standing next to them um, when their beliefs are so strong, which is totally okay. But to be able to stand still in that space and be like, I'm okay, and I'm more
Wow.
than okay,
Yeah.
and I'm God's kid. I'm not your kid. I'm God's kid. And to feel really learn to feel his power work in my life and to screw it up. And he's like, it's okay. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Let's dust off your knees and give you a snack and send you on your way.
There is no screwing up. I've learned
No,
that in my life. There is
thank
no such
you.
thing. There's learning for sure.
Learning.
There's lots of learning.
And that is something I have learned as well as I can't screw it up. It's just choice. It's just choice.
So, Jennifer, you've become this beautiful ambassador for sovereignty and autonomy and standing in your truth and being fearless about standing in your truth. And I love your platform about moving away from fear and into love, and I love the messaging behind. You are an ambassador for that, and I appreciate that about you. It's one of the things that I think I am drawn to as a human being, is that your life is that message.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like that's part of my purpose on this planet is that my life gets to be shown out to the world
Yeah.
and as a way to open doors for others to just live and learn and grow. And sometimes I don't love that, and others I find it such a blessing. So thank you for that acknowledgement and recognition. And we're past our time. And again, I told you people we could talk about stuff forever, and we'll just have to have Janet back. Um, any final thoughts before we just say our adieus for the day?
Well, always my final takeaway and my final thoughts about everything is just be.
Oh,
Always.
and that is the two letters that we emphasize in Rebel is the be.
Because if you don't, who's going to? Be you.
And nobody can do it for you or like you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Janet, thank you for being who
Uh,
you are, for the journey that you have been on. I honor that. For the journey that you're currently on, I have mad respect and appreciation that we can have the beautiful chats that we have and that we can share it on our different platforms. And to those of you who are part of our communities, we just say huge thank you for the journeys that you're on and that have brought you to us. and the teaching that you allow us to have as well. Thanks for letting us share our lives and our experiences with you, and hope that there's always yummy nuggets for you to take away and start applying in your own world. I just want to say thank you to all of you who have been here today, whether you have watched it live. I do see some comments in here. I just want to say thank you really quickly. Leah, Katie, Jenny. I saw a few others up here. I can't find them, but just thank you so much for your time, because we know that time is valuable, and that you chose to share it with us today just means a lot. Remember to give yourself permission to just be. It's okay to just be. You're not responsible for anyone else's feelings but your own. This is an inside job, and you're just freaking amazing. Freaking amazing.
Yes, you are.
For those of you who are interested in Righteous Rebel events and activities, you can join our community at the Righteous Rebels Facebook group. You can also go check out what we're doing on therighteousrebels.com. Again, registration for next year's Surviving Life and Leadership River Retreat is now open, and you can find information at therighteousrebels.com, or you can reach out. We'd love to have a chat. Next Wednesday, we will share our experience of 2 weeks ago of being on the river and just give you a little insight of what you can look forward to. Although I don't really ever like to tell people what they're going to get out of it, because the reality is I don't know what you're going to get out of it. We're just going to present awesomeness, and then it's up to you. So, Janet, thank you again for sharing your time, yourself, your knowledge. I love you lots. And you know what? It's not going to be very much longer, and you and I are going to get to meet in person.
Yes,
and I'm
true.
so looking forward to that. Until then, I hope you guys, we would love to hear what you took out of this conversation. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to know more of. Janet and I are happy to have another conversation. And until then, remember, you are loved. You are loved. And most of all, love yourself. Be bold, be brave, be a rebel. We'll see you soon. I love it. Catching him too.